so welcome to my latest video on Jurassic World Alive. Today's video is going to focus on how to create the Scorpius Rex hybrids that are being released in the 2.8 update. So a lot of other YouTubers have been covering off what's in the 2.8 update. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to repeat what others have covered. So I'm going to focus on the Scorpius Rex hybrids themselves. I'm going to show you the DNA requirements for creating the Scorpius Rex hybrids. Before we get into the meat of the video, well, let's just have a little bit of humour and the best of the memes that I've come across recently. So I hope you enjoy these prior to getting into the detail of the new Scorpius Rex hybrids. So as I said, I'm going to focus on the Scorpius Rex hybrids. So first off, we've got the Scorpius Rex Gen2, which is an epic creature, fierce and cunning, and it is made up of Monolophosaurus Gen2 and Carnotaurus. So we've got a common and a rare. So we've got 200 DNA per fuse for Monolophosaurus Gen2, and we've got 50 DNA per fuse for Carnotaurus. So if you want to create Scorpius Rex Gen2, you're going to need 150 DNA to create it at level 11, and that will require 1600 DNA for Monolophosaurus Gen2, which I suspect won't be a problem for anybody, and 400 DNA for Carnotaurus, which again, probably not an issue. So I think most people will be able to create Scorpius Rex Gen2 on day one. Interestingly, then we've got also requirements. So Scorpius Rex Gen2 is actually going to contribute to fusing Scorpius Rex Gen3, the unique. So then it'll need to be at level 20 to start fusing Scorpius Rex Gen2. So as you can see there, if you want to get it to level 20, it's going to need 3000 DNA for Scorpius Rex Gen2 once you've created it. And to get 3000 DNA, you're going to need 30,000 DNA for Monolophosaurus Gen2 and 7,500 DNA for Carnotaurus. Now this is based on an average of 20 DNA per fuse. So some people may be luckier, some other people may be a little unlucky. But as an average, to get 3000 DNA for Scorpius Rex Gen2, it's going to take 30,000 DNA for Monolophosaurus Gen2 and 7,500 DNA for Carnotaurus. Okay, so we'll move on to the legendary Scorpius Rex. Again, fierce and cunning, and this is made up of Purotaurus, which is an epic, and Monolophosaurus epic. So both of these will require 50 DNA per fuse, and will need to be at a minimum level of 15 to start fusing Scorpius Rex. So again, it's going to need 200 DNA to create Scorpius Rex, and that'll be created at level 16. And for that, you'll need 500 DNA for Purotaurus and 500 DNA for Monolophosaurus as well. Okay, and to get that to level 30, for those with plenty of DNA for either of those creatures, you're going to need 28,150 DNA for each of those creatures, so for Purotaurus and Monolophosaurus. Again, based on 20 DNA per fuse. And then moving on to Scorpius Rex Gen3. So this is the unique. Again, it's a fierce and cunning creature. And as I mentioned earlier, it's going to require Scorpius Rex Gen2 DNA, 50 DNA per fuse as a epic. And it's going to need Gorgosaurus DNA, 200 per fuse. And both those creatures need to be at level 20 before you can start fusing. To create Scorpius Rex Gen3, you're going to need 250 DNA to create it, and it'll be created at level 21. So for that 250 DNA, You need approximately 650 DNA for Scorpius Rex Gen 2 and 2,600 DNA for Gorgosaurus. And for those with plenty of DNA, to get to level 30, you're going to need 3,000 DNA altogether for Scorpius Rex Gen 3, and that's going to need approximately 7,500 DNA from Scorpius Rex Gen 2 and 30,000 DNA from Gorgosaurus. Now personally, I'm going to be a bit hit and miss on my Scorpius Rex hybrid. So Scorpius Rex, the legendary, my Puritaurus I maxed him out for the championship tournament. So I've currently only got 24 DNA for Puritaurus. So I'm not in a very strong position to make that legendary. And if I want to create DNA for Puritaurus, I'm going to need Carnotaurus DNA. So I've got 8,058 DNA for Carnotaurus at the moment, but I really want to focus on getting that unique. So I'm probably not going to do much with the legendary. I'm going to focus on getting the epic Scorpius Rex and building up DNA repository for the unique. In terms of Gorgosaurus, you can see there I've got just under 10,000, so fairly good position. Again, I've built that one up to level 26 for the championship tournaments to help there, and obviously that's eaten into a much larger DNA pool for me, so not a lot left there really, so I've just got to make do with what I've got there. For Monolophosaurus Gen 2, 152,500 roughly, so no issues there in terms of DNA, so a nice big pool of DNA there. It's at level 18, so that's not a problem. And then on to Monolophosaurus, again it's level 15, so that's fine, and 6,065 DNA, which isn't too bad. Certainly not going to get me up to level 30 in Scorpius Rex, but certainly will be able to create obviously sufficient Monolophosaurus DNA to create Scorpius Rex, assuming I utilise some of my Carnotaurus DNA to get some Puritaurus DNA. But I think really I'm going to focus on Scorpius Rex Gen 2 and Scorpius Rex Gen 3. Focus on those on day one, but as soon as I get these creatures created, I'll get a video together to show everyone what the abilities, resistances and stats are for these creatures. Okay, so that's it from me. I hope you found that video informative. Please do subscribe, click the notification bell and like the video if you found it informative, and I look forward to speaking with you again.